Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Bluewater Gaming, and this is Spec Ops: The Line, and we're doing a review of it today. This is another game that I picked up at the 2K Humble, if I could speak properly, Humble Bundle. I don't think that it's going on anymore. It might have a day left by the time that this is uploaded. So yeah, once again, you get this game, you get The Darkness 2, and you get Duke Nukem Forever, which I've already done a review of on my channel. The Darkness will be the next game that I do a review of. But let's talk about this one, and let's start off with the story, as that is the most important part of Spec Ops: The Line, and that's what most people are going to talk about when they talk about Spec Ops: The Line. And pretty much without spoiling anything, you are a Delta operative coming into Dubai after some massive sandstorms to help evacuate people, and then shit hits the fan. That doesn't spoil anything, and that gives you the basic premise. This is definitely worth picking up. I'm just going to say that right now. This is definitely worth picking up if you can find it on sale. Which, with it being over 4 years old now, shouldn't be too hard. Picking this up for $7-8 is not, it's gonna be worth it, because this is one of the best stories that I've played in a while. This comes close even to a story about my uncle, which I already said how amazing that story is in that, and this is pretty close. The only downside to the story is that this one takes a much darker tone than pretty much anything else I've played recently. There's not much happiness or happy anything, or anything that's not just like depressing, that comes out of this. Everything in this game is a downer. There's not much good, and that's kind of the reason why it almost didn't do so well when it originally came out. This game was it's trying to tell a very deep and heavy story, and it's trying to explain that deep and heavy story in the simplest way possible to the demographic of people that play Call of Duty. And they're expecting that the people that play Call of Duty can't handle the deepest of stories, so it's trying to do it in a very simple way, and I've got to say it succeeds amazingly in that. I don't think anybody could mess up what the story is trying to get across in this game. Yeah, it's just one of the best stories, and I would recommend playing it actually twice for the stories, but we'll get to that here in a minute. First, we'll talk about the gameplay before we get to that. Pretty much this is a basic cover shooter, and I normally don't like these very linear cover shooters. Not really my thing. Usually the Uncharted games, I did play through all of those. Those are cover shooters, but that had a little bit more than just being a basic modern military cover shooter. This one is that, but the story makes it worth playing through, and the developers took a very, very long time to get the pacing of this game right, and I gotta say the pacing in this game is amazing. Right up there with how good the story is. They made sure that the sections didn't drag on for too long. In situations where they wanted things to slow down, they've slowed down perfectly. In situations where you want it to be tense, it's extremely tense. The pacing is just amazing. And so now let's talk about the replay value, which I just briefly mentioned earlier. This game is worth playing through, I would say, at least twice. Definitely once, but at least twice. There is 4 possible endings, with people hinting that there's a 5th, but it's probably not there because nobody's found it in the last 4 years. So yeah, 4 possible endings, but I do recommend playing through it twice, because there's a twist that happens somewhere in the game. Not gonna spoil too much, but yeah, there's a twist that happens somewhere in the game, And the second time that you play through it, you want to find out what like subtle clues lead up to said twist, and you'd be surprised at how early you find clues to that twist, and everything's there. Like, if you pay close enough attention to everything, then the twist won't be all that too crazy. But the first time you play through it, I recommend not knowing like anything about this game, like not watching any reviews where they go in depth about the story or anything, because the story kind of loses some of its punch when you know what's going to happen. So now let's get onto the graphics and talk about that and sound really quickly. So with the graphics, what you're seeing is currently on the very high settings. This is the highest that it can go on the PC. Sadly though, it is locked at 60 frames per second. I know that my machine could get more out of this game than 60, but it's locked at 60. Strangely though, the cutscenes in the game are like 480p, maybe even lower resolution. They are just crap. Thankfully that's only happened on maybe 2 or 3 of the cutscenes, but some of them look completely fine, and some of them look like super low resolution. I'm talking maybe early 2000s, maybe 1990s home movie quality of resolution. It gets really bad. Thankfully though, it doesn't happen all that often, and there is a good number of cutscenes that I've gone through so far, so yeah, it's only happened maybe a handful of times. And then next, on to sound. All of the guns sound exactly how you think they sound. None of them sound really weak. Your basic assault rifle sounds about the weakest, but it does have a realistic sound. The gun that they're using, the M4A1, doesn't sound exactly as punchy as you would expect it to, and yeah, it's realistic, but it's good at what it does. And there's also something that you normally don't get in other modern military shooters, and that's rock music and just different types of music playing in the background over radios, because in the background of all of the fighting there's a radio station still playing, and the music choices work pretty good. It's not like random music or anything. It's all chosen specific songs. Some of them are more well known than others, but they all fit in their place. And the final thing that I'll touch on sound is the voice acting. All of the voice acting is amazing. I'm talking like better than Call of Duty. Pretty much some of the best voice acting that I've heard in a while. These guys really convey what they're trying to talk about, and it works very nicely. So I'll just finish it up here with my final thoughts on the game. Yes, I do recommend picking it up. It shouldn't be that expensive to find. Currently it is $30 or your regional equivalent on Steam, but I'd wait until it goes down in price, at least a 60% sale, 65% sale. If it's under $10, then yes, I would recommend picking it up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Only real thing that I can talk about is what I can't talk about. Oh, there is one final thing that I almost forgot to mention, and that is if you've upgraded to Windows 10, which you should have. I'll make a whole separate video on that. But if you are upgraded to Windows 10, then you will need to go into your Steam settings and check the integrity of the game cache. You can look online on how to do that, but once you do that, It should continue to work on Windows 10. That's pretty much the only thing that I have to say about that. So, that's it for this video. Remember, I'm Ryan from Blue Water Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one.